Hey everyone, and welcome to this next episode here of the Dad Den Uncut. Of course, again, my name is Matt, and thanks everyone for tuning in. Um, a lot to talk about today. Yeah, so I don't know, just kind of what's going on right now. So my wife recently just started going back to work. Within the last, I think she's on her second week now. Working overnights, and I am currently off of work, finishing up the rest of my paternity leave for Gracie. So she's been at work, her training and everything, because she started a new job. Her training has been during the days, so during the days it's just been me and the kids, which has been pretty nice. Um, Everyone's like, "Well, you'd probably be pretty quick to go back to work, ready to get away because you're so exhausted." I really don't. I'm loving it right now. I am absolutely loving it. I've always said since as long as I can remember, since I've been a dad anyway, that I would absolutely love to be a stay-at-home dad. Not because I think that it would be an easy way or that I could sit and take naps all day and do whatever I want. No, it's because I can see more of what my kids are doing. I missed when Addie was a little baby. I mean, I missed a lot of her first time rolling over, her first steps. A lot of those I missed because I was at work. It's no fault of my own. I was at work providing for my family, but I missed a lot of those stuff, so I had to watch it on video. Thank God for smartphones nowadays. But with Gracie, it's nice that I get this time off with her. Because, like, take for example, today I got to watch. My wife was at work. I'm sorry she didn't get to see it, but I was able to watch her roll over for the first time. She went from her back to her belly, and then back to her back. That was really nice to see. It was really nice to be able to be the one there with her, watching her. So, anyway, moving on forward here. So, what I want to talk about today, we're on episode 5 now of the podcast. I put out a post a couple of days ago. I think it was Saturday. Yeah, I think it was Saturday. About doing house chores. It actually built up a lot of steam. So everyone that watches this knows my page right now so far is not a huge page. I have a little over 200 followers so far. The videos, I have a few hundred views and whatnot on the videos. So I'm not a giant page. So when I have 5 shares on a post, it's pretty big right now until we grow bigger. But the post I put out Saturday was huge. So I got like 35 shares on it, like 50 likes, a ton of views on it. It was nuts. Within 24 or 48 hours, I think it had reached over 3,000 people from just one post. And this is from a page that's been active for, what are you at, a month now? That was crazy. It was kind of cool to see that reach that many people. But this post, if people haven't seen it, this post is all about doing house chores. So Friday night into Saturday, my wife worked from midnight to 8. So it was just me with the kids, right? So at night, when Gracie got up in the middle of the night where she had been changed or fed, I got up and I fed her. I did what was needed to do to take care of my daughter. In the morning, my wife came home. She got home at about 8. Gracie was actually just getting up for the day at that time, and I got up with her. We went downstairs, we got her changed, fed, and I proceeded to start getting stuff done around the house that needed to get done. From the night before when my wife was sleeping getting ready for work, I had made dinner and was laying on the couch hanging out with the kids, watching movies, and I just left blankets laying around, and I left dishes in the sink. So next morning I got up and I did the dishes and I folded up all the blankets and I picked up the toys and I made the house look presentable. Why? Well, first and foremost, most of that was my mess. 2, who's going to pick it up? My wife? My wife just got done working overnight. What am I going to wait? A couple of hours until she wakes up from sleeping for her to get up and clean up? No. I'm just going to sit there and stare at mess. Listen, I'm a homeowner. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm not just another person existing in the house for my wife to pick up after. It doesn't make any sense. So anyway, the whole post was just about, doing your part and, picking up after yourself, taking care of your kids, and just not making your wife do a lot. So it got a ton of traction on it, which was great. But for how popular it got, all the comments, all the likes, the shares, it was great. But it was also a little disappointing in a way. A lot of positive feedback, right? But who was all that feedback from? About 95% of it was from women. I don't have a problem with women liking what I'm saying at all. I don't have an issue with that. Again, I've said it before, this page is called the Dad Den, but if mom or whoever follows this page, I don't have an issue with it. I understand a lot of the topics I talk about is not just necessarily geared towards fathers. But my issue is that it was ignored by a lot of guys and fathers out there, unfortunately. So I'm assuming a lot of them saw it. I'm assuming there was wives and mothers that tagged or showed their significant others the post. But a lot of them was mainly just, like I said before, it was, I wish I had a husband that did this. I'm a stay-at-home mom that I have to do everything around the house, and on and on and on. I didn't make that post to make people wish that their husband was like me. I don't know how to word this here. I made the post more to showcase that there are dads and fathers and husbands out there that do this stuff. Because according to pretty much everything you see out there, every joke out there, TV show and whatnot, or most of them anyway, fathers and husbands are the joke of it, right? You have your TV dad that sits on the couch and drinks a beer, and whenever there's a problem with the kids, it's, honey, need you to come get little Susie, she's crying. Like, that's the TV dad for you. It's kind of disgusting. I wanted to make that post to show that there really are good dads out there. And I'm sure a lot of you already know that, But, just from the way I was raised, and I know I went through my bad spot here a couple years ago, but that never changed the fact of what I did around the house. So if you've all watched the podcast through so far and watched, from episode 1, so my parents split up when I was 10. So growing up in a house where I majority of the time lived with my mom, she had me do my own laundry. She had me do things around the house to help. I cooked dinner for both of us. Well, I cooked dinner mainly because I like to cook. I don't know. But anyway, and then, my dad, even still, my dad cooks and cleans his house and everything with my stepmom. It's just the way I was raised and the way I saw things done and how things are handled. So I guess that's kind of where I was brought up with it, that housework is not just the woman's job, all right? But on the same set too, a lot of guys try to say that, my wife handles the inside and I handle the outside. Okay, well, I don't know where the hell you live, but where I live, I have about 4 to 6 months a year where I can't really do much outside besides shovel the driveway. So what do you do? 6 months a year, just sit around, do nothing, watch your wife do housework? No, the way me and my wife do it. So on Monday, me and Tara got up, got the kids all set. They were playing, and we went outside and did some landscaping around the front of the house. We had to dig up a ton of weeds, put some mulch down, make things look nice. A couple hours worth of work. I didn't just go outside and do it. Me and my wife went outside and did it. We got some things done. It was a nice day outside. Got to spend some time in the sun. Addie was able to play outside. It was really nice, And then the following day we went out, and we have some old garden boxes that are in the backyard and that were there when we bought the house. They were like old wood pallet ones. They look like they cut a pallet in half and made a box out of it. Well, they're all old and decaying and looks like crap. So we tore those down. It wasn't me. I didn't go outside and do this while my wife stayed inside and watched the kids. That's not how it happened. And then after we got all that done, we went inside, cleaned up, showered. One of us started on dinner, and we got some stuff inside done. We vacuumed. We had the dishes done. I'm going to say it 100 times probably this episode is we did this together. This is our life. This is not my life and her life. This is our life. This is our house. These are our kids. These are all our responsibility. It's not my job to do A, B, and C and her job to do D, E, and F. That's not how it works. Life, marriage, parenting, it's all about teamwork, working together, being efficient. Efficiency. I love efficiency. If there's a project that'll take me 6 hours, but when my wife chips in and we do it together and it'll only take me 3, I guarantee you that I'm going to find a way to have her help me so that I can get it done in 3. I don't want to take longer on something that shouldn't have to, right? And the whole concept of, well, I pay the bills, so my wife's job is to stay at home, take care of the kids in the house. Okay, great. So you pay the bills. So you're saying your wife doesn't really contribute because she doesn't have a job, she's not paying the bills. Okay. So your wife's not contributing. What about that $1,200 a month in childcare costs that you're saving because your wife is not working? The average U.S. household spends over $1,200 per month in daycare expenses for one kid. One kid. And that's according to AmericanProgress.org. I have 2 kids. Looking at over $2,000 a month. Yeah, $2,000 a month. If my wife was a stay-at-home mom, her value on what her job is over $2,000 a month. Sure, that's not a 6-figure income, but I think she's doing a lot more than what you really think. That drives me nuts. And all of this too, I don't almost want to say it came from the previous generation because that's how it was in the 40s, 50s, 60s, and so on. And even before that, is the wife took care of the kids and the husband worked and provided for his family, and that's just how things were. Well, you know what? It's not 1950 anymore. It's 2019. I'm a father. I'm a husband. I'm a parent. I'm a homeowner. I take care of my shit. So should you. God, it drives me nuts because I have 2 ends of the spectrum that I'm kind of being pulled against here, right? So I have one end that says I want fathers to stop being considered second-class parents. I want to be treated more as an equal, that I am just as much a caregiver and provider to my children as my wife is. Because I constantly hear people say, oh, it's so nice that you get up in the middle of the night and you help your wife do this, or you help your wife with house chores, or you help your wife doing this. I'm not helping my wife. I'm doing my own part. Again, it's not my wife's job. I'm not her assistant in her completing her job. But on the other spectrum of it too is that I'm sitting over here trying to argue my case of that that dads are first-class parents and that they are worth more than what society gives us credit for. But then on the other spectrum of it too, I also know probably a dozen freaking guys out there that do go to work, come home, and sit on their ass and do nothing. They go to the park with their kids for a photo op to post to Facebook to make it look like that they're involved in their children's life. That's about it. The wife is sitting there doing everything. You're not a father. You're existing in your child's life. It's just... this topic right now today is what got me started on this whole idea of the brand of the Dad Den. And this came right after Gracie was born in April. I started working on this when I was off of work then. So this topic of dads are doing more in their child's lives is what birthed all of this. What you're watching right now, the things you see on the social media posts here. But it's a double-edged sword. You try to fight a fight and try to change a narrative on fathers to make it so that we're not all considered Homer Simpson type dads. But then you have way too many bad apples that just keep on making things harder for the rest of us. You have a family court system right now that's completely broken and shattered that prevents really good fathers from seeing their children and being involved in their children's lives. And there's like the father's rights movement and all these movements that are trying to change that. But the problem is that you take one step forward and then you get knocked 2 steps back next time you hear of, some abuse case or some absent father. Like, it's the battle between the good dads and the deadbeats. And sure, there are a lot of bad moms out there too, so don't you dare think that women are excused from this conversation either. But this is called the Dad Den. I'm going to talk about fathers here. If I can convince my wife to come on here at some point, which probably will never happen. She's not very social like this. Maybe I'll convince her to be able to come on and bitch at everyone about deadbeat moms. But yeah, and I know that if the Father's Rights Movement page got a hold of this podcast, there's probably going to be all hell being raised because of it. That I'm sitting here making dads out to be the bad guy here. No, I'm not making dads to be the bad guy. I'm trying to show that there are good ones out there, and there's a lot more than what people give credit for. But the problem is that the narrative keeps on showing as fathers being not as good caregivers, because what do you see every time you look on social media? You see more of the negative than you do the positive. Plain as day. Plain as simple. So I don't know. I'm just sick of seeing grown-ass men that require someone else to take care of them, that are creating more stress and work for their significant other because they don't do their part. Oh, well, we wouldn't have the house if it wasn't for my income. Great. Let's take your wife out of the mix here. You own a house. Who's taking care of it? You're not going to find some cleaning service or some cook to come and cook and clean for you for free. Why should you expect your wife to do it? How about you go and you chip in? Come home from work and make dinner a couple times a week. I'm not saying come home and do everything. I'm not saying have your wife do nothing and pamper her and treat her like a queen that she doesn't do anything. Yes, you should take care of your wife, and she should also take care of you. That's also another conversation for another day here. What I'm talking about is put in your work. These kids are just as much yours as they are hers. I don't know how many times I need to repeat this for it to maybe get through some of these fathers' thick freaking skulls. And I'm almost ashamed to admit that I know some of these fathers. They're not bad guys. Like, I know them. I'm friends with some of them. Like, they're not bad guys necessarily. They just, I don't know if it's the way that they saw how their parents handle things growing up, or if they think, well, this is just what works for us. Well, yeah, it might work for you right now, but what's going to happen when your wife is sick and tired of having to do everything and take care of your sorry ass, and all of a sudden you get served divorce papers? Keep making someone act like a freaking slave around you and see how long it's going to last. Honestly. I don't even know how much more I can say about the subject here without just going off. I want to prevent those. I think it embarrasses my wife when her friends see me just... I don't even know. She doesn't want to be seen with me in public, probably. I don't know. But, yeah, I mean... Listen, today, what did I do today? My wife worked, she's still in training, so she's doing, like I said, some day shifts here. So today, she worked from, she's gone from like 11 a.m. till 9. It was a long day for her. So what did I do? Oh, I played with the kids for a little bit. I got the dishes done. I cooked us some dinner and some lunch. I vacuumed. Let's see, I scooped a cat box, played with the dog outside for a little bit. I put some grass seed down in a couple bare spots. I think that was about it. And this was, what I just named off was not a lot. This was actually a very relaxing day for me here. I spent quite a long time playing with the kids and, sitting watching a movie and laying around and lounging around. It is certainly possible to get stuff done around the house and still be able to sit and relax. I didn't wait until the last minute to do everything. I got my wife up for work, got the kids fed, and went and did the dishes. I didn't want to do the dishes at 10 o'clock at night and wait until the last minute. Also because I still had to do this video. Time management, people. It's possible to get things done. I hope there's dads watching this podcast right now. I really do. Because they need to hear it. They need to hear it, one, for their wife's sake. They need to hear it for their own sake, too. If you're not doing this stuff, if you're not helping around the house, you're a bum. You're an absolute bum that just leeches off of your family. That's all you're doing. Maybe not financially, but everything else, yes. And I can tell you 100% right now, being a stay-at-home parent and taking care of your kids all day and managing the housework and whatever else is more difficult than probably 75% of the actual paying jobs there are out there. So don't give me any bullshit about how you work hard all day and you don't want to come home and have to help out around the house. It should be done already. Don't give me that bullshit. Probably half of you sit at a desk all day, talk on the phones, type on the computer. If there are some moms, grandmas, grandpas, whoever else out there watching this, I'm sure there's probably more of you watching this than there are dads, unfortunately. Well, fortunate. Thank you for watching. Share this. Have other people listen to this. Even if you share this and some other father listens to it but doesn't like it or share or comment, then so be it. They heard this, and maybe it'll just start seeping through their freaking skull, and they might have a change of mind. Maybe. But that's why it's very important to like, share, and comment all of these. When I post this onto Facebook, share the links for them. Do a little write-up review for them. I'm trying to keep these shorter. I'm not trying to go to 45 minutes again like I did my first one. I'm trying to keep these about a half hour or less, which we are pushing right now. So I will wrap things up for you here quickly. But yeah, please like, share, comment as much as possible. Get these out here so that the people that need to hear these hear them. If they don't end up liking my page afterwards, then so be it. But the fact that they heard them, that's what's important. All right. So again, thank you everyone so much for listening in here again for the 5th episode of the Dad Den Uncut. And again, thank you everyone too for your support online and on Facebook, Instagram, social media, everything. Guys are definitely keeping me motivated to keep doing this because I am getting a lot of positive feedback, which is really nice. So yeah, thank you all again. Again, like, comment, share. I'm going to say it again and again and again. As Addie says in Mondays with Addie. What is it? Subscribe. I should do a little meme with her doing that. All right. Thank you, everyone. We'll see ya.